Hello everybody and welcome. This is Not a Pro Gardener here. And today we're going to be harvesting the rutabagas. The rutabagas, the transplants that we seed started that were so leggy that I didn't think they was going to make anything. We're going to find out what they did today. We also got a little bit of a addition to the video from before. We did our broccoli video, yes, but our second 30-foot row of broccoli, we're going to be showing you a little sneak peek of how that turned out, which we're pretty pleased with, so stick around for that. We're going to be in the in-ground garden harvesting today. Why we are harvesting these rutabagas now is, well, they need to be about, from what I've read, I've never grown rutabagas before, I'm definitely not a pro at it, but they say about 2 to 3 inches in diameter you can start harvesting to eat. Now the rutabagas at the store, those are like softball size or bigger. You probably won't see any of those here in the Not a Pro garden today. This production plot was just mainly to grow food and explore new things. So there is a lot of weed pressure, so be prepared for that. It's just been, the weather here lately has been really rainy. It's been about like 3 days on, 3 days off. It'll rain a little here, you know, and then it'll be 3 days of straight sun, and then it'll just rain for 3 more days, and it's just been like that for the past couple of weeks, which is very good for the garden. The warm season crops are just about taking over. They're loving it. Now for the rutabagas, they like well-drained soil, and we have heavy clay soil, so I wasn't sure if it was quite going to make anything, but we hilled up the rows and planted them on raised rows along with a lot of other things in the garden this year, and they seem to do quite well so far. But next week we got some, I think we're finally going to jump up to those 90-degree temps, so I really need to get all this stuff out of here. The cauliflower and all that probably won't make anything. It's just going to be too hot, so hopefully we'll see what happens, I guess. But the broccoli was a huge success, and you'll see that later. Now the in-ground fertilizer was the, I believe it was the Nature Safe 855 is what we put down in the furrow, and we planted these a foot apart. Let me remind you that, because we were planting for production. I'm pretty sure they need to be farther apart than that. I believe it was like 18 to 2 foot is their normal spacing, I'm pretty sure, and we crammed them together, and I'm pretty happy with what we have. But we're harvesting them because the warm season temps that are coming up, and they're big enough size that I'm happy with. And the medium-sized rutabagas, they're supposed to be more tender and a lot more succulent, as the web searches have provided. But for the Johnny's, so if you go on Johnny's website, they have a grower's library. So I'm just going to kind of cite off some of the information they had there about these rutabagas, which is what I used in helping me grow these, because I didn't know what to do with them. But it's a good learning experience. So after 2 good frosts, you can cut the tops and wash the root, or you don't have to wash the root, or you can wash the roots, which is the rutabagas I'm talking about. After 2 good frosts, you can cut the tops off, wash the roots, or don't wash the roots of the rutabaga, and you store them at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius, at 95% humidity. Now, I don't have anything that can quite replicate that, but I'm just going to put them in these, I got grocery bags, kind of like them thin plastic bags you get at the grocery store. I'm going to put them in those. And put them in the fridge, and that's going to be my method of storing them for now. I wanted to can them, but Ball recommends to not can them because they get discolored, like a brown color, and they get a really strong flavor, and I don't know if it'll be worth my time, because I didn't quite make but maybe 20 some odd rutabagas, so we'll probably eat them before that time ends. But if you wanted to preserve them longer, you can dip them in paraffin wax after you clean them, and that will help them keep from drying out and store longer. in the fridge. So I couldn't quite find any paraffin wax. I might order some online, but I think I'm just going to try to go ahead and just see how long they last in the fridge for now, so we'll probably just do that. Now, the benefits of these rutabagas is the potassium. There's a ton of potassium in these guys, and really not a lot of carbs or sugar in them, which is very nice, but they have a lot of vitamin C, iron, vitamin B, and magnesium, calcium for you, and some protein in there. So very healthy. I recommend trying new things like I have here. So we're gonna go ahead and head out here in the garden, show you what they look like, harvest them all, and we'll pile them up here in the bed to kind of give you an idea of the harvest that I made on this. It wasn't quite a 30-foot row, but like a 26 some odd feet of it is what I got planted. I ran out of transplants. And then we'll show you the broccoli. So let's go check them out. Okay, so the weed pressure's pretty bad here, guys, but you're gonna have to bear with me on this one. But now you can't eat the tops on these, but this is about roughly the average size that I got out of these guys. All right, everybody, so this is the rough look of what the harvest looks like when you pull them up. Some of them are about a baseball size. They got a heck of a root structure. You can see the weed pressure they was going through. So I'm not surprised they didn't get huge, but they'll eat. I got quite a few of them. I haven't counted them yet, but I'm going to get them dressed up for you and put them in the back of the Ranger here. And I'm going to put them in the back of the Ranger here, and we'll see what we got. So I'm going to crop the tops and throw them in here for the chickens. See how they like those. All right, everybody. So we got these guys. We gave them a haircut, got them nice and cleaned down to be put in bags and put in the freezer to be cleaned. We got the bags to put them in the fridge. So this is roughly about the biggest size that I got. There are some that are even smaller, but they will still eat. You can kind of check them out there. They're not too bad. About a baseball or bigger. Not quite softball size, but they're pretty nice. They're pretty nice sized. So we got these guys done. Now, well, let's go check out this Eastern Magic broccoli, and I'll show you how those are doing, because those are going to get harvested today as well. So let's check them out. Okay, so there's still a lot of weed pressure, like I said, but this is the old 30-foot row of broccoli here that we harvested a couple weeks ago. Now we have this second row that comes through here that we haven't harvested yet. I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what they look like on the plant. That one's getting ready to flower, so we know we need to cut them all. There's some hiding in between that you can't see because of the foliage of these broccoli plants. But they're doing very well. I'm very happy with them. Some of them are just ready to be cut. Some of them are pretty big. Some of them are just giant. Biggest broccoli heads I think I've ever done in my whole life. If you can see this right here, this guy's huge, like gargantuan. Absolutely huge. I've never made broccoli heads this huge. Pretty proud of it. But I think it's just because these had a 70-day mature date, so they got to stay in a little bit longer. They was a more heat-tolerant variety than this green magic broccoli. And as you can see, I got side shoots coming up. As I said, I was gonna just cut the heads and leave the plants in to get some side head production. And this one's already flowering. As you can see, this is what it looks, what you don't want it to look like. I could probably still eat that though, because none of the flower heads are open, so that's not a big deal. But I need to harvest these as well once they get just a little bit bigger. But with that 90-degree weather week coming in, they're probably going to start bolting here soon. So let's go ahead and get all these cut. I'll show you what they look like in the back of the Ranger. I ain't going to bore you with me harvest them all since you've seen me on the last video. So let's go ahead and get them harvested, and I'll show you what they look like whenever they're done. Okay, everybody. So we got the broccoli all cut off, and this is the Eastern Magic broccoli. They have 70-day maturity date, and the Green Magic we did the week prior was 50 days. A couple weeks ago we did those, and let me show you the difference. We got some huge heads of broccoli here. So, just as a comparison, look at this guy. Goodness gracious. And I don't even think this is the biggest one. Just look at it. That's how big this thing is. I gotta say, for growing organic, this thing is ginormous. I am absolutely pleased with this guy. And this isn't the only giant head I got here. Here's another one. Here's another one. And then I got this guy here. And there's a couple more in the back that have gotten absolutely huge. Let me take you in close so you can kind of get a feel for what we got going on here. Look at this broccoli forest in the back of the Ranger. I ain't never seen them grow that big before. I don't know if it just has something to do with me growing strictly organic, or if I just pumped the fertilizer to them and they just did their thing. It could be variety specific. But this thing's absolutely a producer. Look at the head on that guy. Huge, absolutely huge. I'm very, very pleased with these guys. This is probably one of the smallest heads that it made. But I gotta say, for putting these guys a foot apart, I can't believe I got heads this giant. Little side shoot action. Yes, they're all real. But there's your close-up of that. Let's go ahead and take you back. So, for both of these plants here, they got treated exactly the same. At planting, 855 in the furrow, and pretty much with the rain involved, every 2 weeks roughly is about the soonest I could get fertilizer injected through the drip system. And I really couldn't water them that much because it rained a lot. I only got to water them and fertilize them about 6 to 7 times. And sometimes those were week apart feedings, but I mean, I am very happy with it. The Agro Thrive through the inject system with some Nature Safe 777 flowable powder. That and the Micro Boost. Put the Micro Boost in there, and they gave them all the micronutrients they want and need. Proof's in the pudding, guys. Last year I grew them with synthetic means. This year it was organic, and I don't know if I'll go back. If I can help it. So that's definitely a win for me, guys. So now, means of preserving my broccoli, I might pop up a video, or maybe I'll pop up a picture of the finished product. I want to do a video on blanching and freezing and then packaging them in seal meal bags, because that's what we do. And if I got time for that, maybe I'll pop up a video or make a separate video. Just stay tuned for that. That was a harvest video, probably one of the most exciting ones I think I've had. Let's go take a look at the cucurbit plot. We've had quite a few issues up there. Let's go talk about them. Okay, everybody, so this is the cucurbit plot. This whole row right here, I have spaghetti squash on the ready. plant it every 2 foot to go up this trellis, which I have done before. It does work, which is really awesome because it maximizes your growing space. All this is on drip. It's about a 20-foot plot by probably about 22 feet or so. This is all different kinds of zucchini. These are the spineless beauties. I think I got some golden delight zucchini, and I think it's delta squash and the slick pick squash, and then some leftover 8-ball squashes from last year, and maybe some Alexandria in there too. These are zinnias and a couple sunflowers. So this is the Hales PMR, powdery mildew resistant cantaloupe. I got a couple of those here. It's all that survived. And these Moon and Stars watermelon. They're looking pretty good. Hopefully those make out really well. I got plenty of room for them to vine out, so I'm pretty excited about those. These are my baby butternut squash from Johnny's. Got a little bug pressure. I sprayed them and then it rained, which means I need to spray again. Up here, they get a little shade in the evening, so this is a pretty nice little plot to work in the evening, but check that out. The bees hopefully are working up here. These guys look awesome. Pretty picture right there. Love it. Cannot wait to try these guys. I'm hoping to can them. There's one that's lagging behind, and then the weed pressure. And then the weed pressure. Yes, it is everywhere, but this is a pretty good looking plot. I'm very happy with it. Now this is where I've been having some issues. Something keeps digging up my drip lines, and I don't know what it is, but it's whatever it is, it's tearing it up. I've had problems. One of them zinnias over there was pulled out this morning, and I just replanted it. And I've had problems with squirrels doing stuff like that before, believe it or not. There's a slick pick squash right there. These are the first ones that I've direct seeded this year. They're just starting to make, as you can see, that one's looking very tiny. Cannot wait for these guys to come up. I'm hoping to freeze a bunch of these. That's why I direct seeded a whole another 30-foot row of them. This guy right here, smash them when you can. Looks like I'm gonna have to spray these again, which is okay, that happens. But this has been a terrible spot here. I keep having problems with something pulling up my drip tape and biting holes in it. Could be mice, a rat, whatever it is. It's about to meet its end. I'm about at my wit's end. I just hope it does not dig into my most important ones, which are these watermelons here. It's going to be hard to replace this stuff if he keeps putting holes everywhere. It's doable, and I can fix it, but it gets old. It gets old real quick whenever they keep digging up your drip lines. Anyway, this is Not a Pro Gardener here. Thanks for watching. This has been a great harvest video. Hopefully we have more to come. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time out here in the garden.